So let's first deal with 2017, right? We're coming to the end of the year. So we have what, 3 days left now? It's the 28th. So we have the 29th, 30th, and the 31st. Yes, Dory, I will put that on YouTube. I will absolutely put that on YouTube, yes. So we have 3 days left, 2017. So I want you guys to take a moment and think for just a second what has gone on this year. And if you'd like, I do invite you to share in the comments. I will say for myself, this year, oh my goodness, this has probably been simultaneously one of the hardest and most satisfying years I've ever had. I was talking with my partner the other day and he's like, you know, you're almost not the same person that you were at the beginning of the year. And that's a good thing for me. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, and I say these things like, don't get mad if you catch me with like a glass of wine, but like they were problematic things before, right? So we're not just talking about like a glass of wine with friends out. We're talking about like my liver doesn't appreciate what I've done to it kind of thing, right? So I've made some really big changes in this year, and it was hard for me a couple days ago. I was like, I feel like I haven't done anything this year. I feel like I haven't accomplished anything. I feel like I'm in the exact same spot. My partner looked at me and said, babe, you've changed so much. You're almost not the same person. And so I really had to take a step back for myself and really understand I have changed. I have done a lot of things to better myself and to make myself into the person I want to be. Because for a long time, I think I was just sitting around and waiting for things to change. But what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting things to change. So I think it's really important that we appreciate how far we've come, even just over the past 12 months. I know it can be hard because we get caught up in those day-to-day things. And, you know, those of us that work, those of you that have kids, every day can sometimes be tedious. We can sometimes get caught up in the day-to-day things, especially if you live alone. That too can be really challenging to see your progress because you don't have anybody to measure that from. So just food for thought. It looks like you guys too have had quite the year. 2017, again, across the board, I really feel like has been a year of growth. A year of welcome change, and I think a year of really recognizing where we want to be and really doing what we want to do in order to get to those places. So I just want to remind you guys that you're not the same person you are, that you're not the same person that you were coming in, and that's important to note. Even if you feel like you've been spinning your wheels, even if you feel like shit's just exploded, right? You've learned, you've grown, things have changed. We are not stagnant creatures, right? Humans are constantly growing and evolving. So it's important to honor where you're at and honor the changes that you've made, even if they may not be the ones that you necessarily thought you had in mind to make. These were the changes that were necessary for your growth at this period of time. I think we get caught up a lot of times in wanting to be at a certain place, wanting to think that we should be a certain somewhere doing a certain something. We should already, you know, be married and having kids and all of whatever that means for you, right? Everybody's is going to look different. Honor where you're at. Honor the progress that you have made and the things that you have learned, because everything is purposeful. I don't believe in coincidences. I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I think that it's important to, when you do have those hard times, to really take that hard look and say, okay, what can I learn from this situation? Why was this presented in this manner? Has this situation come around before? Have I seen this in different terms, on a different cycle? A lot of the things that we deal with, guys, are cyclical. A lot of these things for myself that I've noticed, I've experienced in different fashions before. And because I haven't taken the time to address them or just kind of brush them off and put them to the side, they've come back and it's been louder. And that's kind of how the universe works, actually. It just gets louder and louder the less we listen to it, right? Because it's going to get our attention one way or another. So this is why we have cycles. This is why things come back around like they do, so we can change the course, if you will. So for me, that's always been a recurring theme in my life. And I really had to take a really hard look at it and say, okay, how am I perpetuating this? How is my behavior similar, even though it's, you know, everybody grows up and say, oh, I don't want to turn into my parents. Oh, I don't want to be my parents, right? Look at the cycle, look at the point that you're at, and look at the choices that you're making. Are you consciously making those choices, or are you just making those out of habit? Because if you're just making those out of habit, you're going to wind up in the exact same space that you were before. So the new year is always an opportunity for us to move through transitional things and move that energy, because we are starting fresh, starting new. So I really want to encourage you guys, when we're talking about 2017, let's tie up some loose ends, right? We have 3 days coming in, or 3 days left in this year that we can tie up some stuff. So things that you just don't want to drag on with you into 2018, let's get them done, right? So whatever that looks like to you, if that's calling somebody, if that's writing a letter or a thank you note, or writing a review for something, doing something that you promised somebody, excuse me, do the thing that you don't want to drag into 2018. I think that's really important, to be realistic and say, okay, we need to be done with this. If there's projects that you've been sitting on, stuff in your home, little projects. I know I start stuff all the time and then it's like, oh, I have all these projects. Finish them. Wrap up the loose ends. I promise you'll feel better. Like I said, phone calls, errands, any end of year business stuff. Just do it. You'll feel so much better after you do it. I promise, I promise, I promise. So how do we get what I like to call freshy fresh? So let's work on clearing up clutter and clearing up the energy. So I'm going to talk from the perspective of being an empath. I feel everything so intensely. Everything to me has energy. And some of you guys may experience that in different ways. Some things have great energy and some things have not great energy. So for example, those of you who are really drawn to crystals, it's probably because you really like the energy. Those of you, who have ever been in a bookstore and just saw a book and had to have it, that's because of the energy, okay? So as empaths, we perceive things in different ways than the rest of humans do. So with that being said, if everything's energy, we really need to be mindful of the stuff around us and the stuff in our space. So when we're talking about getting freshy fresh, everything is energy. So boring stuff, and I hate to mention this in this kind of space, but it does need to be mentioned. You guys, if you have stuff like paperwork or taxes, stuff that you're gonna attack at the beginning of the year, get it organized, get it ready to go so you're not stressing. So a long time ago in a previous life, totally joking, but like in this life, I used to work in a bank, right? I was your friendly neighborhood banker, and before that teller and all of those things. And people would come in 2 days before Christmas and ask us for brand new holiday bills. And it would baffle me. You guys, is the same day every year, December 25th. It doesn't change. It doesn't go away. Every year, you're going to be celebrating Christmas on December 25th. Why do you wait until 2 days before to come in and ask for your Christmas bills? It's the same kind of thing. When we know that there's something coming up, even if it's stressful, even if it sucks, like taxes, look, nobody likes taxes. Just get your shit organized and get it done. It will be so much better than having it loom over your head, having to deal with all of it later, okay? So that's the only like boring stuff I'm gonna talk about with that. Freshy fresh, what are you carrying with you? So those of us who carry purses, I used to carry a huge handbag, right? Like those big ass Coach, almost like a duffel bag where it's like somebody picks up the purse and you're like, is there a bowling ball in here? I used to carry around one of those because I wasn't conscientious of the stuff I had in there. And then all of a sudden there'd be like 4 water bottles, 2 books, a journal, my makeup bag, everything was in there because I wasn't paying attention. So take a look at what you're carrying with you because it's all energy. So take some time, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes, dump out your purse, clear out the stuff that's old, garbage, throw it out, move it along, organize it a little better so it's not so chaotic. Those of us that have wallets, when's the last time you actually went through that wallet? When's the last time you cleared out that energy? There may be, you know, customer appreciation cards from places that don't even exist anymore, right? These are all things that carry energy, so we need to be super, super conscientious. If you're a student, you know, your backpack can just be like a drop zone for all of your stuff. Take the time, clear it out. Your car, especially those of you who commute to work or that is your main transportation, stuff can really accumulate in your car. So take those extra 5 or 10 minutes, clear out your glove box, your trunk, you know, anything that is hanging out, that middle compartment, that center console, all this stuff that's just carrying this energy along with you. Really be conscientious, you guys, because we feel it. Whether or not we consciously are aware of it, we still feel its presence. So we're going to move on to things like the kitchen. This is a great thing over the next few days, and especially coming into this weekend we have with the holiday. Go through your fridge, go through your pantry, throw out stuff that is expired. If you're not going to use it and it's still good, donate it, move it along. If there's stuff and you're like, what the hell am I going to do with this? Have what I like to call an Iron Chef party, where you have a couple mystery ingredients and you try and create something out of it. Most of the time, it's going to come out well. This is also a really good exercise for those of you who are intuitive to work on your intuitive skills while you're cooking and creating in that sense. That's one of my favorite activities to do, is actually channel while I'm cooking. So, like I said, throw out the old stuff, donate it. If you have stuff, you know, bake something for somebody. If there's, you know, stuff you're not going to use and you just want it out or want it gone, show your love somehow, right? Move it along. But if it's just sitting there, it's just kind of collecting energy, or it is energy. So if it's not moving, it's not going anywhere. So be mindful of that and be conscientious. Bathroom, that's another big one. So especially for those of us who may like shopping a little much. You guys, I have so much stuff in my bathroom. Thank God I have a separate bathroom than my partner. Like, best relationship advice ever, separate bathrooms. Seriously. That way he can't see how much stuff I have. His stuff is all separate. I mean, let's be real. His bathroom is where the bathtub is, so a ton of my stuff is in there anyway. But you guys get the point, right? By having, by going through your bathroom, you're really taking into account of what you are putting onto your body. And that's something that we don't necessarily think about until we start looking at the food that we're putting into our body. But keep in mind, your skin is the largest organ in your body, and it only takes about 20 minutes for something to get absorbed into your bloodstream once you put it on your skin. So use this opportunity to take a look at what's in your bathroom. Find those products that you thought you were going to use and have been sitting there for months. You can throw them out. You can trade them with your friends. You can also donate them, you know, if they're unused, those kind of things. Homeless shelters, I know they do a lot of collections, especially this time of year. Things like hotel toiletries, a lot of us just kind of grab and collect for like no reason. Donate those, right? Let that energy keep moving because it's just sitting in your bathroom probably. And again, take this opportunity to get clear on what it is that you want in your space. You don't need 4 different conditioners. You just don't. You don't need 20 different kinds of lotions. Do you guys get what I'm saying? These are all holding energy and these are all holding space. So once you start to clear them out, you'll start to feel better. You'll start to feel energy moving more in these spaces. And you'll start to feel better about what you're actually doing because you're going to be more mindful and it's not just going to be that habitual thing. So again, take 5 minutes. Once you start, it feels really good once you actually get to that completion point. Closets, that's another really big thing, you guys. A lot of us just kind of keep stuff and it's like, we're hoping that it's going to come back, and by the time it does, we're probably not in that size, or we probably have like a niece or a nephew or like a child who can wear it kind of thing. You guys, if you're not using stuff, let somebody else love on it because it's just energy sitting there. It's holding space for you. So go through your purses, your shoes, your accessories, your scarves. I know, you guys, this is hard stuff. And a lot of us, myself included, I shove stuff in my closet or in the dresser and I close the door and I don't look at it, but it's dense. It's holding space for us. And most of the time, we don't even really know what's in there. A lot of us really only use the same items over and over repetitively. So if you are thinking this is a good idea for you, a good trick is, especially in a closet, hang all of your hangers the opposite way that you normally would. So then when you go and put an item back, you can hang it normally. And then after 6 weeks or 2 months, whatever time frame that you decide works for you, go back and look in those items that have not been used at all, move to a different section. And at that point, you can start to notice those items that you're not really using. You know, those of you guys who live in cold climates, I know you actually have to have like multiple wardrobes. I live in Arizona, so that's not something I have to deal with anymore, but I will tell you, I used to dread every winter when my mom used to make me clean out my summer clothes, and every summer when I had to clean out my winter clothes, right? So those sweaters, bathing suits, right? All of these things that are just around, that have been around since like 1985, y'all. They may have value too, right? Vintage, it's a thing, right? So I'll tell you guys, this whole clutter thing with me and my family actually turned into a business for my mom. And this is like the most fun that she has. She actually helps people to consign items through an eBay store, and she's gotten a lot of really good reviews and people really like the stuff that she has. So again, I've been able to see this firsthand where it's like, let somebody else love something that you've loved. And I know sometimes it's hard to let it go, but just know that if it's meant to come back, it will. And I know sometimes that's hard to conceptualize too, but I promise you'll feel better. Sorry, I'm talking really fast. I'm getting really excited. Need a sip of water. Okay, so we talked about the car, we talked about the kitchen. Bathroom, closet, digital detox. This may be a new one for you guys, but this is something that I am a very strong proponent of. We have so much information that's flying at us through our phones, through our computers, all the time. So it's important to be mindful of what information we are letting come in at us. So take your social media, for example. Facebook, right? We're on Facebook right now. Don't, how do I say this nicely? If there's people that you are friends with or that you follow as like a hate follow because like you're just secretly curious to see what's going on with them, unfriend them, unfollow. You don't need that shit in your life, right? Follow people that uplift you. Follow people that you care about. Don't follow that random person you knew in 3rd grade and then go and check on how his vacation was. Not necessary, right? Completely not necessary. Focus on the people and the things in your life that actually matter, that actually make a difference to you. So go through your pages. You guys, there's so much junk that we just absentmindedly, oh, I like this page. And then all of a sudden they're shooting out spam and stuff that's not even related remotely to what their page was initially about. Go through your groups. See what groups you're in. You know, Facebook does this thing now where people can add you automatically to groups. Huge pet peeve of mine. Go through and see, do you resonate with the groups that you're in? All of this information that's coming at you is all within your control. Just that general stuff, that general energetic clutter with your social media. Make sure that if you're following it, if you're interacting with it, it's bringing you joy, it's bringing you knowledge. Make sure that there is something gained from this situation, that it's not, that there's value added. That's really value added is what we should be looking for. So for your phone, you guys, this is a huge one. We are a society where we do not move a foot without our phones. Heaven forbid we walk from the bathroom to the bedroom and don't have our phone on us, right? Think about the energy that we're carrying with us every single day. So we have our social media in our phone, right? Facebook is the click of a button. You also have contacts in your phone. You also have texts in your phone. You also have pictures. All of these things carry energetic weight, whether we understand that concept or not. So go through your phone, you guys. Delete old contacts. If it's somebody that you worked with 3 years ago, GTFO. Bye, Felicia. We don't need you. You are taking up space. You are taking up energy. And it is just not serving anymore. So if you haven't talked to them in a year, if you don't want to talk to them anymore, right? Get them out. Let them go. Delete old texts, old photos, things, again, that we're just holding on to that aren't serving us anymore. Your email. Delete old emails, old email addresses. Again, this is all energy. This is all things that we are releasing back into the wild, if you will, right? Take your computer, go through your files, clean up your desktop. You know, take a moment and organize your photos. Make sure you can find what you need to find. Set yourself up for success in the coming year. It's really important that we have the mindset of success and that we know what we want going into 2018. So, we're getting all freshy fresh on 2017, right? Now let's talk about 2018 and some of the things that we can do to make sure that we have a killer new year. So I'm going to tell you why I am not one to set resolutions. Because frankly, I don't really think they work. I think that if you notice something is wrong in your life, you should change it. I don't think you should wait for a specific day. I don't think we should say, oh, I'm going to keep pedaling on all my stuff and I'm going to keep on my bullshit until January 1st and no, then I'm going to stop. And that's why year after year, we're all making the same resolutions and we're all saying, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, no, because we're not serious about it. We say these things, but we keep pushing them off. So Really, if there's something that's bothering you, if there's something that isn't making you happy, isn't bringing you joy, isn't bringing you satisfaction, don't wait until the new year to change it. Change it now. But since we're here, since we're only 3 days away, let's work with this, okay? If you have the same goals that you did last year, let's take a look at why you had those same goals. So, is your goal to eat better? Is your goal to lose weight? Is your goal to exercise? Where is that coming from? I want you guys to really, really, really get clear on what you want. I did give you guys a goal brainstorming worksheet, and that is directly out of Shift Happens. Okay, so please, if you would like, can go ahead and download that, print it out, just 2 pages, and that'll help you get clear on some things when we're talking about goals. Because again, it's important that when we are talking about goals, you know what you're getting into, right? You have to know what is actually of value to you. Because if you just say, oh, I want to be healthy, well, why do you want to be healthy? What does being healthy look like? Does that look like eating better? Does that look like exercising more? Does that look like drinking more water? Does that look like maintaining healthier relationships? So I want you guys to really get clear on that. So some of the questions that you're going to encounter on the goal brainstorming worksheet: what would your perfect life look like to you? What would it feel like, taste like, sound like? Who are the people who are with you? What have you always wanted to do or have that you've never started? Who or what do you wish you had more time for in your life? What does it mean to be happy? How important is it for you to be happy? What brings you joy and happiness? What makes you feel good? What activities do you practice regularly that bring you happiness, energy, and contentment? What areas of your life just don't feel right? What activities feel bad? For example, angry, irritated, bored, frustrated, or even anxious. In what area of your life are you finding progress, learning, challenge, improvement, and increased mastery? What would life look like if everything were working? So these are questions to really kind of get going with how you want to set up your goals for 2018. And I think it's important to have goals, even if you don't necessarily believe in the idea of a goal, because a goal gives us something to work towards, right? I see Kimberly talks about setting intentions instead. And while it is very important to have an intention, because we have to be moving through life purposefully, and that is where we put the intention. But if we are not goal-oriented, it can be hard to get to the next level, to achieve things that we want to achieve, and that's how we can find ourselves stuck if we're not making specific goals, because it can be very lofty to have intention. It can be very lofty when we are saying, I want to be more spiritual. Great. What does that look like to you? And this is where we can go and we can delve a little deeper and say, okay, that looks like meditating 3 times a week. That looks like clearing my energy twice a week, or whatever that looks like for you. Everybody's version is going to be different. So that's, I am giving you some of these tools so that we can move forward and really accomplish things. Because you guys, I see so many people in the spiritual community where it's like, I'm going to lose weight this year. I'm going to do this year. Okay, so why are we actually not moving forward? What is preventing us? What is stopping us? That's the thing, you guys. We are all so bright and so smart. We have to work with it. We have to work with what we know and how we know we can move forward. Let's see. So the other worksheet that I gave you guys is for SMART goals. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this too real quick. So SMART is actually an acronym for smart, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timed. And these are how to create goals that we can achieve. And again, the reason that we have these goals is that so we have a sense of accomplishment, so that we know that we are moving forward with what we want to be doing. Because again, I can guarantee for myself, I have said probably for the past 10 years, I want to lose weight this year. And that's been what I say at the beginning of the year every year. And my weight fluctuates, sure, it goes up and down. I have not been the same weight for the past 10 years, but it hasn't stuck, right? So it's important to understand that when we're making these changes, it's about a lifestyle change. It's not necessarily about, making those little changes. They are little changes that add up to big changes, but we can't just pull a rabbit out of a hat and expect things to change. They have to be small, measurable, and attainable goals for us to notice and to become aware of those big attainable goals. So when we talk about specific, how specific is your goal? Is your goal significant? Is it a stretch for you? M for measurable. Is the goal measurable, meaningful, and motivational? Is your goal attainable, achievable, and action-oriented? You guys, this is a big one. Again, a goal of I want to be healthy is fantastic. How is that actionable? What steps will you take to become healthy, right? So a lot of us have the intention, but we have to have the goal to go with it. Is it realistic? Is it rewarding? Is it result-oriented? Can you measure this? Is this something that you know without a shadow of a doubt you will have been able to do? Is it timed? Is the goal traceable? Is it tangible? So these are all things, again, on that SMART goals worksheet that you guys have in the file section in the Lightworkers Lab. Okay, so you guys have that benefit of working through both of those sheets. And you can print out as many copies of the SMART goals as you want and really work through what you're wanting to shift and what you are wanting those goals to look like for yourself. So we have a few minutes left. I do want to open it up to some questions for you guys. I was planning on doing a meditation, but y'all, we are running short on time. So there's a couple things that I just want to say and recap, and then I do want to open it up for some question and answer on the feed. So please, or you need clarification on, please start hitting me with those questions while I am just wrapping up this lesson for today. So I want you guys to think about making changes like you want to be happy, you want to be healthy, maybe be more balanced. Maybe that looks like being stronger, having more boundaries, right? Having stronger emotional boundaries, being more resilient, being more connected, more aware. So I want you guys to really kind of start thinking outside of the box and really start looking at how 2018 is going to be different. So it's not just the same thing year after year. So we're not coming back here next year and having the same conversation. If we can do anything in 2018, let's try and be more conscientious. Let's do things purposefully. Let's do things with intention, not just out of habit, not just because that's the way we do things. Think about what you're doing before you do it. We move through life. We move through all of these actions without really stopping, checking in with ourselves and seeing what it is we need, what we desire, what's going to fill us back up. And it's important, you guys, to start, again, with small, manageable goals. If your goal is too big, you're not going to achieve it, and then you're going to get discouraged, and then you're not even going to try. So when we're talking about food. So if your goal is food related, which a lot of our goals are, I think food is one of the most important tools that we have, and probably one of the most underutilized tools that we have. And I think a lot of my teaching over the next year is going to start talking more about high vibration eating, different types of food. That's probably one of my favorite food, cooking, recipes, all that good stuff. Food is medicine. Food is energy. It's how we nourish ourselves. It's how we fill up this, you know, you put gas in a car, you put food in a human. It's how we fuel ourselves. So start with manageable goals. If you have an overall goal of becoming a vegetarian, start with small, manageable goals. Start with a meatless Monday, right? That's 1 day a week out of 7. Start with, you know, I have to do vegan before 6, right? Start with something that feels good to you. Because if you walk in and say, I'm going to be a vegetarian tomorrow, and then next week you've had 2 days where you haven't been able to do it, haven't been up to it, you're going to get really discouraged. So start with small, portionable goals, and that way you can move up. You know, another thing with food is start by replacing with healthier options. So as you run out of one item, instead of picking up what you normally would at the store, pick up the organic version. Pick up a natural version. Pick up something without any additives, GMOs, right? So start with small, manageable options. Slowly build up your pantry with healthy base ingredients so that you're not stretching, so that you have food available to cook with regularly. If your goal is exercise related, again, start small, start with a manageable goal. It's not realistic if you're sedentary now to say, I'm going to exercise every single day. It's just not. So maybe say, okay, I'm going to exercise 3 days a week. And in 2 months, come back to that goal and see if you've accomplished that. And once you feel comfortable with that 3 day a week, move up to 4, move up to 5, right? But we have to start somewhere. We can't just go gung-ho all the way in, balls to the wall. It doesn't work like that. We have to start small. We have to do manageable things. Otherwise, it's not realistic and it's not going to happen. You know, if exercise is your goal this year, start with stretching, right? Are you stretching every morning when you get up? Are you taking walks on breaks at work? Those of you who work, I am sure you know you are required to have 15-minute breaks. What are you doing with that time, right? Are you standing around at the water cooler? Or are you outside enjoying some fresh air, taking laps around the building, taking laps around the office, whatever you can do? If your goal this year is meditation, start with 3 minutes twice a week, whatever that looks like, you guys. It's so important to not overwhelm yourself and to not have that expectation be too high. Because if that expectation is too high and you don't achieve it, you're not likely going to be continuing with your goals. So we want to be able to make progress. We want to be able to achieve what we set out to achieve. So it's really, really important to get clear on those goals. Again, the intention is so fantastic. We have to have the intention to have the goal, but the goal is what helps us level up. And we talk about that a lot. We always want to get to the next level, be better, do better, feel better, see better, all of these things. But they require practice, they require patience. These are things that we have to do. So, Dory, I'm planning on walking when I go back to work. Yes, that is fantastic. You know, again, especially in work situations, there's always a lot of people around. See if you can find a buddy. See if you can find a walking buddy who encourages you maybe on days that you don't feel like doing it. It gives you, you know, a more social aspect and allows you to share in that accomplishment with somebody else as well. So, do you guys have any questions? I know we have a couple more minutes. I'm going to scroll up in the comments real quick and see if there's any big questions that I missed. Summer, I'm sorry I got let it go stuck in your head. That I apologize for. So Stephanie, a few minutes ago you said if you buy something at the store and are like, go back for the fifth one on the left because it feels like the right one, that is energy. Yes, ma'am. It's all about the energy. It's always about the energy. Even when things like don't make sense and you're like, why am I picking this weird random one? Energy, always. So just because you can't see it with your physical eyes, you can still feel it. You can still sense it. Those times that you walk into a room and you feel like you can cut the tension with a knife, you can't see people being pissed off, but you can sure as hell feel it. Same thing. Mary says, this has been a hard year with many changes. December's been a hard month. I'm hoping this will shift in the new year. Is very motivated. So Nairi, don't judge yourself for where you're at. It's so important that you honor the space that you're in and know that everything happens in the right time when it's supposed to, okay? So be kind to yourself, be gentle, know that you are in full control and there is every chance in the world for you to do exactly what you want to do, okay? So know that you are loved, you are supported, and you have people who are ready and willing to help you, okay? Doris says, I'm even to walk downstairs to get more water. Yes, 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 yes. That's a really big thing too, you guys. We are not drinking enough water. We are not hydrating ourselves enough. Water is one of the most important things we can give to our bodies. It helps us move energy. It helps us, on a spiritual level. Water conducts energy. So we need as much water in our body to move all of this energy that we are feeling and sensing and experiencing. So, my goodness, you guys, we have just about 2 minutes left here. I always try and be really respectful of your time. I know that sometimes it's hard to carve out even this hour that we're together, so I appreciate you being here. Take one big deep breath with me. You guys, I appreciate you being here so much, so much. Again, you can find more about me on my website, ariellesterling.com. Please come join me in my group, the Empathic Emporium. I do live teaching in there as well. I do reading in there as well. I am not one of the designated readers in the lab, but I do readings in my own group. I support a fantastic community of empaths. I would love for you to come join me. Remember, if there is any service that you would like from me, you do get 10% off from being in the empathic, or from being in the Lightworkers Lab with me. Use the for anything you would like. And don't be a stranger, you guys. I really want to hear how this has helped you and what your goals are and how you're planning on achieving your goals, because there's nothing that I like better than seeing my friends succeed. Honestly. Once you figure out what you want and achieving it, there's no better feeling, you guys. I hope you can all get there this year, and I am ready to help you with that. So thank you so much for joining me. I so appreciate your time. I appreciate that you spent the last hour with me, and I hope that this class was very helpful for you. Again, please come find me, ariellesterling.com, and let me know, again, how everything went for you with this class and how your goals are progressing into the new year. I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's celebration, whatever you choose to do. Please be safe, right? Make good choices. They used to say that to us in high school, and I was like, still not making good choices. Make good choices, you guys. Your body will thank you for it, okay? I love you guys. Happy New Year. I'll see you in 2018. Bye, y'all.